righty. So Rotacaster. Rotacaster is a company that we had partnered up with over 10 years ago now. They make a special multi-directional wheel, and I'll kind of tell you what that is, how it's made, and then some of the applications that we put this into. Just to give you, again, some little background, Rotacaster is a company out of Australia, and they have rebranded themselves a little bit recently in the last couple of years, and their product, their wheels are now called Omnia, and their motto is wheels within wheels, which is what I'll talk about here shortly. But again, they still, the company name is still Rotacaster, but their brand of wheels is now called Omnia because they wanted to capture some of those Google searches when someone's looking for an omnidirectional wheel. All right, so what is it? Rotacaster is basically a wheel with a bunch of little wheels around it. So it allows you to change direction without turning. So there's no need for a swivel caster. So we'll go into why that's important a little later. But we'll start here with kind of how it's made a little differently than some other competitive brands of multi-directional wheels and why it's a little bit better. So first it starts off, it's made with a web-like core, as you can see in the picture here. This is all one piece, so there's no pins, where some other competitors right here would be using metal components, which in essence could break with certain impact. So again, a very highly shock absorbing and impact resistant wheel. It's also completely polymer based, so it's highly corrosion resistant. There's no metal components that would rust here. So after they make the core, they attach a patent bushing. It's a helical bushing that goes over these rollers and is almost impossible to come apart. So a really strong structure. It also creates a little bit of a quietness compared to some of their older designs. After they have the bushing, they overmold this polyurethane around that bushing, which is a very unique design, unlike some other multi-directional wheels where they have to have components to put these little rollers onto the hub. Again, a much more robust design than some of the competitors out there. And lastly, they have to put these wheels together. So after they make the hub and they make the rollers and put it all together, there's one piece here, but you can't just use one side of a wheel because there's a gap, right? Between this roller to the next roller, there's a space here that would cause a thump as you were rolling it on the ground. So they actually sonically weld these wheels together to create doubles and triples, as you see here, so that when it's rolling, it's going from one roller to the next. They're offset here, for a quieter, smoother ride. And then the triple provides higher weight capacity as well. The Rotacaster has a variety of sizes for different applications. They start with a really small, tiny 35 millimeter wheel, which only holds up to 5 kilos in capacity. Again, this is for very light, sensitive conveyor applications. We don't really sell a lot of these, but if the need is there, we do have it. The 50 millimeter, though, on the right here is considerably more popular for conveyor transfer applications, and they have a variety of different durometers as well. So this one takes up to a max of 30 kilos per wheel, and works really well for transfer stations. The other two wheel sizes that they have are the 90 and the 125 millimeter Rotacaster wheels. So these wheels can be used both for a conveyor and also as a caster application. The 125 millimeter is our most popular as a caster, facing down like it is there. And that one is available in a double, a triple wheel, and also in a quad as shown here, which is really two doubles on one axle and maxes out at 220 kilos. So great for robotic applications and many different applications I'll show you here in a minute. Rotacaster also offers a variety of different hardnesses. So the rollers could change from something really soft for sensitive applications to something a lot harder for when you need a higher weight capacity. There's a variety of different bore options, and this page is available on that One Monroe training as well, so don't need to dive into it. But again, basically, if you need a specific size, they have a lot of different options for the application. And then at the end, there's a lot of mounting options as well if you're going to use it on the floor as a caster or upside down for a conveyor application. All right, so the Rotacaster, it looks cool, but why do we use it? There's a couple of unique parts to this Rotacaster wheel that solve some problems, specifically as a conveyor and as a caster. So in the conveyor applications, it provides omnidirectional movement of packages. So if you have a package that's going down the line on conveyor rollers and it needs to be diverted to a different direction, then that's where the multi-directional Rotacaster wheels work perfectly. Also, if you have a station where something needs to be spun and they need to put labels on it, again, it allows for that movement. It's also non-corrosive because all the components are. It's a full polymer wheel. It's great for wet environments, as opposed to some of the other multi-directional wheels which have metal pins in them. And then all different mounting options and sizes, allows for very different applications, from light duty to very heavy duty applications. And as a caster, it provides 360-degree movement without the need of a swivel caster, which is important. And I'll show you on some of these pictures that are coming up next, because there's a lot less space required than a standard swivel caster. So in some applications, this is really important because they don't have the space that they need for a swivel caster. All right, so this is the good stuff here, the application. So the Rotacaster wheel is obviously a bit more expensive than a standard swivel caster, so it's really used to solve problems that a customer might have. So it's a problem-solving product. And some of the applications that we've worked on with Rotacaster, one is in material handling. We actually create these hand trucks that are shown here. We assemble them and sell them. So the benefits of these hand trucks, kind of shown in these pictures here, is that we create a four-wheel base. So we'll have a standard kind of hand truck wheel in the back, and then the Rotacaster wheels in the front. So what this allows you to do is to pull back the load, and actually it self-stabilizes without the need of you actually holding the hand truck, as opposed to a two-wheel hand truck, and then you could push it and move it to wherever you need. So a really popular item for us, and utilizes the Rotacaster wheels in the front so that you can move it in any direction. As a caster application, there's many different ways it gets used. This piece of equipment on the left here is actually a 3D printer that prints insoles. It was a machine that was put into different Costco's, and their issue was that it had to fit in this very tight space. They had these little metal pieces on each side, so the product had to go in and out. If they had a swivel caster, it would, when you change direction, the wheels would hit here. So they had to go with the Rotacaster wheels, and it solved the problem for them. On the right, we have a large cart that was created for these spindles, where their space was really limited and the movement had to go straight, directly laterally, and then back again. So they had to use these Rotacaster wheels and could not use a standard swivel caster. For conveyor applications, where we see a lot of success here, on the left is a conveyor pallet mover. So a pallet was being brought in, turned around, with put stickers on, wrapped, and then sent down the line in this direction here. They were using ball transfers, and I'm not sure if you know what a ball transfer is, but it's a little ball in a cup with bearings that also provides multi-directional movement. But the issue was that over time, those little cups with the ball transfers collect dirt and debris, and then they don't spin anymore. So where the Rotacaster wheels, those little rollers kind of push out debris as it gets in there as it's spinning. So it worked a lot better than some of those ball transfers do. On the right here, Rotacasters recently in the last year come up with a drop-in powered transfer station. So this equipment here is actually powered. So they power the small wheels going into one direction. So the package would move here. The machine would stop and then automatically power the other larger wheels going in this direction so that the package could be diverted into another line, another conveyor line. They've been used in pipe rollers where they're manufacturing pipe. This allows you to turn it and also push it forward and back. And then on the right, another conveyor application where the customer was using ball transfers. where they were manufacturing frames around frames for windows, where the ball transfers were actually damaging the frame because they were a much harder material. So they went with a softer Rotacaster wheel, which solved their problem, and they've been using them ever since. All right, one of the most popular ones recently in the last couple of years are robotic applications. Specifically, we've done a lot of work with autonomous warehouse robots, kind of the ones you've seen in the Amazon fulfillment centers, where the robot will go pick up the product or a rack or a cart and bring it back to the station where it needs to go to. So you don't have people running around picking parts. So these utilize a Rotacaster wheel at the bottom here because there was really a minimal amount of space and they couldn't use a swivel caster. So that's the Rotacaster wheels located right under there. On the right-hand side, we not only have the Rotacaster wheels on the robot itself, but also on the carts that it picks up. So you'll see that these carts have 4 Rotacaster wheels on the corners and then standard wheels in the middle. The big benefit there was that this robot has to go underneath the cart, pick it up, and then take it to where it needs to go. So if it had swivel casters on the corners and they weren't perfectly oriented straight, the robot would not go in to pick up this cart because it would see an obstruction that it couldn't pass through. So that's where the Rotacaster wheels, solve the big problem for them. And lastly, just a couple different custom designs that we've done over the years, or Rotacaster has done. A special wheelchair. This is on the left-hand side at the bottom is a lift. It actually lifts the TV, pops up, and then goes back down. The top right is a mobile wall. So the customer hides the Rotacaster wheels underneath and has a special design which lifts the casters off the ground to stabilize and not move the wall. And then you push this little lever and it lifts the casters up so that you can start moving them again. And then the final design here at the bottom is it's a office furniture. It's a desk with 4 Rotacasters that are hidden inside of it. So if you're looking at it, it looks like it'd be perfectly stable and you could move it, but it actually rolls really freely with the hidden wheels that are inside of it. So those are some of the different unique designs that Rotacaster has solved problems for. Again, it's a really cool wheel that's a great talking point when a customer sees it, especially if you have those engineer-minded customers like a lot of us do. So that kind of completes the Rotacaster training. And lastly, just to talk about, again, the New to You program. So just make sure that we're utilizing these unique products to start a conversation with your customer. Our goal isn't necessarily to just sell more of that specific product, right? We don't want you just to sell Rotacaster products because it doesn't fit in every application. But I believe it's a great door opener that allows you to have conversations with your customer and hopefully provides you some new opportunities, new projects that we can work on.